pull out that Christmas tree yet? Put it back up. It's too early. Get up. Get up and put some respect on Thanksgiving.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. Deja vu for some of you on YouTube. It's Thursday, November 14th, 2024. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tas Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer, probably a little drugged up right now on cold and flu medicine, JD.
Mucinex. Makes you feel weird and makes you make mistakes, as it turns out.
That's all right.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Start over? No, we do it live because we got the balls to do it live. Sometimes we have mistakes, but it is Thursday. Trust me on that one. No TK this morning. The bearded one will join us on tomorrow's Drop podcast after that quick trip to the Bay Area. We do have another wedgie, though.
We did.
That's similar to yesterday's show. Another one. They keep coming. Wedgie number 8, Tas. And it was Trey Murphy III. Sticking one in OKC. Maybe one of the only positives so far from the Pelicans season.
Yeah, was that a positive, though? Your three-point shooter just coming back from injury. Putting one during garbage time, really, where they get spanked by OKC.
Yeah,
4 minutes
it's positive because we wouldn't be talking about them otherwise. So, yes, with their season and with the way everybody's injured, I think it is. Right. So, yeah, we're up to 8 wedgies. So
they're coming.
Good stuff there. All right, 11 games on last night. Only the two of us here. Thought it'd be fun if we did some drafting when it came to the best games / performances from that busy NBA slate. Let's do 3 rounds each. So we'll get to 6 sort of total performances.
Yeah, then we'll sprinkle some in at the end because there's more than 6 games to talk about, I'd say.
Oh, you're already drafting 4th and 5th rounds here. I like it. Okay, but let's start with the number 1 pick. You get it. Where are you going? Because, man, there are a lot to pick from.
We're going to a 50-burger Greek style. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I was going to say, which one?
Yeah, a couple 50 burgers and then a cat on the side. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. We'll get to Karl Anthony Towns. But let's start with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks at home to the Detroit Pistons, and it's all about Giannis, especially because the Bucks were even more shorthanded. Bobby Portis was out in this one. We know Chris Middleton is out. Damian Lillard out again, concussion protocol. And the guy who filled his spot in the starting lineup, Ryan Rollins, in the previous game was also out. So who's starting at point guard? DeLon Wright started at point guard. He had an offer in this game. AJ Green started beside him. He hit 1 shot. So backcourt only had 3 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo literally scored every basket in the first quarter. He had 22 points in the first quarter. He was just doing everything. The guy's putting this team on his back. He seriously is. But the Pistons literally had more depth. Malik Beasley, who played for the Bucks last year, hit 4 threes in the first half. And the Pistons were up double digits at half. In the third quarter, the Bucks were down 18 points at home. Yeah. It looked bleak for this team, but they did come back. Brook Lopez, big block on Cade Cunningham. Then he started pounding his chest. And the other bench players for the Bucks, Andre Jackson, Pat Connaughton, Gary Trent. They're big. They're hustling.
Gave him something.
Yeah, Andre Jackson was getting to the floor and diving beside Cade's feet. Giannis even had some blood on him in this game. There's literally shots of blood on his shorts. I think we got a photo of the bloody butt for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this game always it went into the fourth quarter. It was tied late in the fourth quarter. Bucks tried to win it from a Taurean Prince 3. It didn't go down. So the Pistons had a chance to win it with 1 second left. And that's when Bucks assistant coach said, hey, look at this laptop. Look at this play. Did you see the Pistons in the NBA Cup yesterday? With a couple seconds left, Jalen Duren ran an alley-oop play on an inbound. They had a beautiful dunk. So that's what's going to happen. The Bucks were able to break it up, but Giannis Antetokounmpo was called for a foul, which wasn't a foul, but they couldn't challenge because they had no timeouts left. You can't challenge that. So Ron Holland, all he had to do was hit a free throw and win the game for the Detroit Pistons.
Just one.
Clank, clank.
That boy was nervous at the line.
He was. Ron Holland, the Rook.
It was like literally the guy was shaking.
Yeah,
he's a young rookie and a chance to win the game after a really well-designed play again. Yeah, instead of Duren like it was for the winning, or I guess tying in that situation, alley-oop in the game prior. It was Ron Holland this time. Giannis didn't think he fouled him. Didn't think there was enough contact. Didn't. Yeah, I sort of agreed with Giannis on that one too. That was sort of a looked like the Pistons were going to like sort of get maybe gifted another game. Obviously,
Right.
Spo helped them out, calling a timeout he didn't have the game prior, and then this foul was like, really?
Especially because it was
missed.
almost under the backboard.
Yeah.
Even if Ron Holland caught it,
Yeah.
he couldn't hit the shot.
That was going to be a very difficult finish, but
So-
the basketball gods,
Yeah.
the ball don't lie, I guess, really came through because those free throws weren't even close.
No, they weren't.
They were not close.
That's a good call, yeah. It's unfortunate for Ron Holland there.
But they still had overtime.
They had overtime to win it, but that's when Giannis took over. He absolutely took over. He had a block to start the overtime. And he had 48 points going into overtime. He scored another 11, one of them on a three-point shot, his only three-point shot of the game. He only took 2, and he hit this one. And if you're watching on YouTube, I still don't know what the celebration is. I'm not sure.
It's got some Sam Cassell vibes to it.
Yeah, the big balls
Yeah.
hung like a Greek horse. I don't know.
Exactly. I guess so.
I'm not totally sure. The broadcasters, Kate Scott said, he was doing the, I got this in my veins type of thing, because he's kind of pointing at his arm, but I'm still not sure.
Well, yeah, he's sort of, he almost mashed together 3 celebrations. If you see, he is doing like the 3-point with his fingers.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of, right?
Yeah.
Then he's doing, like
Ice
you
in
said,
the veins.
ice in the veins. And then there's a little bit, hey, check out my giant dong hanging between my legs, like Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's doing.
But he's only got one arm down there, kind of.
Well, how many pieces do you have?
Well, you said balls. How many balls
I didn't
does
say
he have?
balls. I said dong. A little variation of the Sam Cassell. You said balls for Sam Cassell. I said dong for Giannis. He's going to get fined, I think, for this one.
Yeah, he could, but it's almost just a normal celebration because he's almost doing, like the Dame on his team, he does the watch thing. So he's kind of pointing to his wrist, kind of.
Where do you wear your watch?
Yeah, it's a weird one. That was his only 3. He was amazing from the free throw line. 16 of 17 in this game. 59 points, 14 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals, a big block, as I said, in overtime to start it. His 10th career 50-point game. And it was helped out by overtime because he didn't have it going into overtime.
Yeah.
But a desperate win for this Milwaukee Bucks team. They finally have a winning streak. It ain't that long, but a couple really mean everything at home to the Detroit Pistons, who are playing above their expectations. That team can play a little bit, but no depth on this Milwaukee Bucks team. Hopefully Dame comes back, which should happen soon. But you looked on the bench, you looked at the performances out there. The Pistons were a deeper team.
Mm-hmm. And they were missing guys too, with Tim Hardaway out, and Ivy out, and Fontecchio, right? So they were missing some of their key guys too, which is like at this point everybody's coming in as a mash unit. But the Pistons, man, they keep doing this. They build leads. They get up on a lot of teams this season, especially first quarter, like in first halves. Like they did really well. And they start to let go of the rope a lot of times. They're a young team, I get it. I mean, I'd love to see Cade have some more consistent fourth quarters. He has not been great in clutch situations this year in terms of shooting the ball and getting a little sloppy with it. But, man, it did look like they were going to sort of get gifted another one with that foul call on Giannis on the out-of-bounds play at the rim. But poor Ron Holland couldn't hit a free throw. And then, Giannis outscored them by himself in the overtime.
Yeah,
it was like, we're getting this one. What did you think of Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart, getting tossed for pulling down Giannis from behind with the jersey grab?
Isaiah Stewart is known to do a little bit of dirty stuff. He gets physical, and that is his rep. But you need to draw the line somewhere, and I think that was an easy call.
Not really a basketball play.
No,
where you got beat. Mm-hmm. And then, thus, I'm just going to pull your jersey down and ripped him back to the ground. He's a strong dude. So, I think that was warranted.
I agree.
Statitude said that Giannis has scored at least 20 points while shooting 50% from the field in every game this season. The only other player in NBA history to start a season with 11 such games in a row is Karl Malone, way back in 89-90. I guess Karl Malone got that streak up to 13 games, and then it was snapped. So, I don't see Giannis. I don't know. That's pretty easy for him at this point. 20 points and 50% shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He's having an incredible start.
Yes.
Which is kind of going under the radar because the Bucks.
Because they had a bad record.
They stink. Because they don't have enough depth. But hopefully Dame comes back to help them because, they're a top-heavy team. And when their top-heavy is injured, that's a problem. But also Bobby Portis, they rely on those guys that have been around for a while, won a championship, because they're old. But hey, and Chris Middleton, he's supposed to come back. He said that if he doesn't play 70 to 75 games, then it's a failure of a season. And here we are.
We're getting up to that.
Yeah, right there. We're right there.
All right, so Giannis's 59-point performance goes number 1. That's a great pick. I have the second pick overall. Let's stick with the theme of the 50 burgers. I will take Victor Wembanyama scoring a career-high 50 points.
Oh, yeah.
Including a career-best 8 3-pointers in the 139-130 win over the Wizards. So Wemby did a whole bunch of things last night that were either firsts or putting his name on short lists. The big one is Wemby became the 4th youngest player ever to score 50 points in a game. Brandon Jennings, who was at that Bucks game.
Oh, yeah.
He was throwing out T-shirts. So was
Weird.
L.A. Knight. He was in the T-shirt cannon. But I saw Brandon Jennings for a second during that Bucks-Pistons game. So Brandon Jennings, the youngest to ever score 50 in a game. LeBron James, who's still playing and putting up triple-doubles. And Devin Booker. And then now Wemby. All those guys, 20 years old, but those guys I listed before, fewer days on the planet than Wemby. But, man, what a start for Wemby in this game. He assisted or scored on 4 consecutive field goals over the first, 70 seconds of the game. Spurs built a lead. He scored, all of these points, 50, in very few minutes, when he was out there on the floor. He almost beat Clay's record. Where Clay took, 25, 26 minutes to get to 50? Wemby was right there.
Yeah.
It was 26, 27 when he hit that jumper sort of somewhat still early in the fourth quarter. But 18 of 29 from the field, Tas, 6 boards, 3 blocks. And the 8 3-pointers. This guy's on one right now.
Yes, he's extremely hot.
Which is funny because less than a week ago, there was starting to build a lot of buzz of what's this guy doing?
Takes too many threes.
Does he know he's 7'4"? Why does he just keep shooting threes and clanking them? He was shooting 23% from threes on the season. When everyone in the media, ourselves included, started bringing up this, what's going on, man? Let's get on the block a little bit. Since then, he's 20 for 37. From 3 in these 3 straight games here. It's an impressive stretch. I don't know really what else there is to say. I know you're playing the Wizards. Maybe he was a little fired up to play his fellow Frenchman there in Sar and Koulibaly, but what a show. And this will just be, you just start to go, how many 50-point games will Wemby have in his career? Right? So.
Yes, yeah. As you said, fewer days on the planet than Booker and Braun and Jennings. You start to think, is this guy an alien? He looks different. I mean, he looks different out there for a 7'4" guy playing basketball, as you said. The last 3 games, he had 6 threes, then another 6 threes, and then this 8-burger. That's a lot of threes for a 7'4" guy, number one, to shoot. I mean, about half of his shots this season are 3-ball shots.
Yeah.
So it is very different, and only about a third of his shots are in the paint. So he is pushing himself out further. But if he's that confident in these shots, how can you stop him? In this game, there were deep ones. There's a 27-footer, 28-footer, and a 30-footer. So that's literally 5 to 7 feet beyond the line where he's just stepping into them and feeling good. And so, we were all ridiculing him. Come on, get in the paint. But if he can hit shots,
it was easy to ridicule when he was shooting 3% from 3.
And now he's still a little bit below the NBA average right now, but who cares if you're hitting these shots? It's like Luka earlier in his career. Who cares if you can do other things in this game? I mean, it was a fun game because Alex Sarr, there's a lot of Frenchmen on that floor, but him against Alex Sarr blocked him one time. Wemby was giving it to him. So they seem like they're, kind of rivals. But I don't really care if Wemby is that confident. He's just so fluid in his 3-point shot. I think it's going to come. Even now. I mean, we're talking about a 20-year-old banging home 8 threes in this game. So, yes, I think it's fine. I think the balance will come. You got to come respecting him beyond 25 feet, and then so he'll get into the paint more and more.
It's interesting you brought up that balance idea. Zilla wrote this morning in his newsletter, Good Morning, It's Basketball, quote, "No one wants to see the tallest man in the league chucking up bricks from 25 feet. But you all need to take your medicine and like it because there is a plan here, and that plan is to make Wembanyama the most unstoppable player on all the planets. And to be that, he may need to be a legitimate threat from outside in a league moving further in that direction." And he went on to say a whole lot more about this, but I'll stop it there. That's probably fair in today's game. And I start, interesting on a night where Giannis goes for 59 and then Wemby goes for 50. That's a glaring difference between young Giannis when he came into the league, even when he started to blossom into MVP Giannis.
Oh, yeah, not even close. Yeah.
Didn't have the 3-ball.
No.
You can still argue he doesn't have the 3-ball.
Yeah, for sure.
But was sort of unstoppable until he wasn't at times. You know, the old Raptors building the wall, some defenders giving him trouble. Back up, back up, back up. Not too far, though, because you don't want him, like, taking a giant Euro step around you, but force him to shoot. This is where maybe Wemby's like a leveled up version. Now, he's not nearly as strong as Giannis, and I don't think he's ever going to, like, bulk up and gain the weight that Giannis did do in the NBA. But when you got the 3-ball and you have the confidence to let it fly, I mean, 16 attempts last night.
Yeah.
That's no joke, but when you hit 50% of them, you're going to take that anyway. That's the greatest shooter in the world at that point. So I just thought it was an interesting point from Ziller. Maybe this is part of the plan. There will be some stretches where, yeah, he probably misses. And you're like, all right, it's not pretty, man. Get inside. You are 7'4". But if you can consistently hit it and then you pair it with his ability to put the ball on the ground, his ability to work inside, his ability to play make too, that's dangerous. That's maybe one of the greatest players ever if you can continue it on this trajectory.
And I think that the fact that he has been able to deal with all this ridicule is a good sign. That he's just going to get better and better as a number 1 pick here in year 2. Like, he is fine with it. He can roll with it. And all the other Western Conference teams, I think, are going to get a lot more of the media because the Spurs are not going to be incredibly great, but who cares?
They're 500
They're
right
500.
now.
Oh, they're overachieving, really.
Overachieving for me.
Yeah. And this guy at this point hitting a third of his threes, like, that's only going to get better. I don't see how it gets worse, again, because he is so fluid when he shoots the ball. He looks like a natural young player. I mean, he looks like a baller because when
it's
he's beyond
Durant-like in his natural ability to shoot, being a giant. I mean, Durant's 7 feet. This guy's even bigger. But.
Yeah. Durant would let it go up higher, so the form is different. But yes, they're both super fluid, right? And I'm not worried about Victor Wembanyama, just how ready he was to play this game after being drafted. He's a kid, but he seems like he's such an adult. That's why those names like Braun.
That's a good point, because like even the ridicule, which was starting to gain steam, right?
Yeah.
It was. Those whispers were getting louder of like, what are you doing, man? You're the biggest guy out there and you're just firing up threes. It didn't seem to affect him, like you said. It wasn't like, oh, God, that noise is getting to him. Oh, I better get my ass on the block and just, skyhook or whatever, dink and dump inside. He's like, no, watch this. I'll just keep shooting them and I'll just start hitting them. So you're right. I mean, he's got that confidence to him. His great game came on the same day, too, when the Spurs confirmed that coach Greg Popovich did suffer a mild stroke earlier this month. Good news is he is expected to make a full recovery. So that happened sort of on the same day. And yeah, the Spurs are 6-6. Now, last night's game was a high-scoring affair, but they are like the 10th ranked defense in the league, defensive ranking. So, it's solid. That will, I assume, continue to improve too here with Wemby, but he's just such a difference maker on that end.
Yeah, and I'm reading our man Zach Harper's summary of Victor Wembanyama over the last few weeks in his second year. It feels like he's been around for a while because
we've known about him for a long time.
We have, and prior to this season, we were already anointing him first-time All-Star. This guy could be Defensive Player of the Year. When is he going to win MVP? How many MVPs is he going to win? So I don't know, the fact that it feels like he's just jumped ahead earlier than a lot of other players in their careers, being at this much of a kid. So the fact that he's going to be able to roll with it is a great sign. And reading Harper's piece, like I'm sure Zach started writing as this game was going on and filling in on some of that ridicule of, yeah, man, this guy just shoots threes. But then you start to see them. Again, deep threes.
Yeah.
And you start to realize
those Brook Lopez deep threes.
Yeah.
Because they're giant ass dudes. So it's not as far to them. It really isn't when you're that size and have that strength, I guess.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it looks like when he follows through, it's like his hand is in the net. It's
just dropping it in the bucket.
Yeah, so it's to see him only taking a third of his shots inside the paint area when this guy's monstrous. Shouldn't he be doing it more? We start to think, but the game is changing, man. It's just different. If you can hit 3-ball after 3-ball after 3-ball, we're watching a different game.
It'll just be finding a balance. The best play up maybe from that game last night wasn't any of those threes or any of his buckets. It was the one where he like completely stole the ball, hit the ground, and then I forget who he threw it head to in transition. Like, I mean, defensively you think blocks, but like he's 7'4". I think we just forget all the time. I do. It's stupid at height to do what he can do. and move like he can move and hit the floor and obviously cross over guys and stuff like that, and then shoot the shot, like the 3-point shots. Like it's sort of so discombobulating that he's 7'4".
Yeah.
Like I've yet to see him in person. Have we seen?
Yeah, we saw him. We saw him for
Did
his
we?
first summer league game when it was
Oh,
bad.
we did. Well, yeah, I got told I had to leave the floor. Remember that? There's too many people in there.
Yeah. So when we saw him, he was coming out of the tunnel and he was
you're
literally
right.
hitting his head.
Yeah, you're right. We did see that was the
on the
closest I've been to
doorway.
him. Good point.
Yeah, and you can. Yeah, we weren't super close, I guess. So you can't really understand, even though his head was hitting literally the doorway. The frame is made, I guess it was 7 feet, I guess, because he was hitting his head. He had to duck under
easily
to take the floor in the Vegas stadium.
Remember that security guard that had a big problem with me? Why did I get zeroed out there? We had it was the first Wemby game at Summer League.
Yes, his
that
first time.
place was absolutely packed to the gills.
Yes.
Every media member was there, and we were all it's Summer League, so the rules are sort of fast and loose.
Yeah.
So we're all packed around the side. Mm-hmm. Everybody, I mean thousands of us, hundreds of us. And he was like, "Hey, you guys can't be standing here." And I'm looking around, why is he only talking to me?
Yeah, I don't
That was
know.
weird.
Yeah, yep. I would say the security is weird. They weren't.
didn't like
They
me.
weren't securing much.
They were securing Skeets.
You
That's
had
all
to-
they were securing.
You have to be tight up against the railings, or else they get you. Like if you take a step back, I don't know. I have no idea
I agree.
why they did that. It was weird. It was weird. It's also weird that everybody calls him an alien. As I said, I mean, how much longer does that go on? Forever? I mean, I don't know.
He seems to like it. Nike likes it.
Nike likes it. Yeah.
LeBron basically gave it to him. Nah, I don't see it going away anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like I'm kind of
He's
done with it.
extraterrestrial.
I get
You're
it.
done with it already.
I know it's early.
Okay.
I know. I heard the Spurs broadcaster, Jacob Toby, said he's not human. He's an alien.
Yeah.
As he made it to 50. I don't know. Just kind of done with it. But anyway,
All right.
that's me being annoying.
Let's keep it going.
Let's
here.
do it.
The number 3 pick overall. Back to you. Where are you going?
I'm going with the Bulls-Knicks game.
Okay.
It was so great. And I mentioned Karl Anthony Towns, who he was doing a great job at holding them afloat because the Bulls came out and were hitting shot after shot. They were hitting way too many open threes. The Knicks were giving them lots of space. Matas Buzelis threw down a dunk. What? And most of it was done by Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, he looks like superstar Zach again. I mean, he looks so good, so athletic. You try and guard him, he just literally will turn around on you and jump higher than you and hit a shot. Mm-hmm. He did that in this game, and he was laughing.
That
he was chuckling.
explosiveness is back for sure.
It's back. He's focused. We talked about him in training camp, how he got to the podium and he started talking. Is this guy older and a little bit more refined, more developed? And, that's all just training camp stuff. But then now on the floor, he's doing it. Like he was guarding OG Anunoby at one point. OG Anunoby goes right into him, pushes him back, Zach, and tries to get a shot off, and Zach can block it. And that means that he is ready. To see him drop 31 on 12 of 17, 4 threes. Look at his percentages quickly. 54 and 42 from the floor. This is his most efficient season in the history of his career. So his trade value is increasing. There's no doubt about that. So the Bulls were up 22 points at one point in this game, and Karl was keeping them alive. He was just bringing them back over and over and over again. The drives on Vucevic, the threes on Vucevic, where they locked hands as Vucevic tried to stop him, but he was hitting the stanchion and he was still fighting through it. Later on, he was hobbling to the bench and he was still fighting through it. And the other guys, like I mentioned, OG Anunoby, who almost knocked Anne Hathaway's popcorn down, if you saw that. Weird stuff in Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope she's all right. Mikal Bridges was fighting. Campaign got a bang from Mike Breen because he was doing a great job as the backup point guard on this team. Actually, Jalen Brunson just had to chill in the fourth quarter, coming back midway through the fourth quarter, and then it was Brunson time to try and close this game out because the Knicks were able to close that 22-point gap. And so Brunson comes out. His first fourth quarter points were with 37 seconds left. A mean step back. Mm-hmm. They're up 2, but then Brunson bad foul at the other end. So the Knicks are tied again. Bulls tied it up again. Then Brunson again, another make, dribbles past Pat Williams. So they're up 2. Then the Bulls, with just a few seconds left here, they're inbounding, it looks like Zach LaVine is ready to dunk it because it's Josh Giddey, the man, the inbounder. You know,
the slob wizard himself.
Yeah, and it looks like Zach LaVine is going to get an alley-oop pass. He looked open.
It looked open.
Yeah, he jumped, but he didn't pass it. He gave it to Kobe White instead, who miraculously got fouled shooting a three-point shot. So he gets 3 free throws.
Josh Hart
did it.
Challenging sort of from behind.
Yeah.
And, like, hit his sort of head and maybe his body a little
Yeah.
bit. Kobe tried to, like, flail the one leg too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, then he stepped to the line and hit all 3.
He hit all 3. Impressive stuff. So then Jalen Brunson had to hit a game-winning shot with about 4 seconds left. I mean, it was on his shoulders.
Yep.
And he got the ball inbounded. He had Pat Williams on him again and took a beautiful shot. It looked like it was going down, and then a toilet bowl and went out. So Clyde Frazier on the broadcast. I don't know how that missed. How did it go out?
I thought Breen was about to say bang.
Yeah.
I thought for a second you could hear like him almost say like a little B, like it was almost gonna go in. Like you said, it was. I thought it was in. He thought it was in. I think the whole building thought it was in, but yeah, the thing rattled out, and the Bulls win.
Wow, that was a toilet bowl. If you call a bang on a toilet bowl, that would be.
He'd
hilarious.
have to retire, I think. His career would be over.
People would.
Just the shame.
Yeah, put a banner up in Madison Square Gardens with Breen. He's done. Put a plunger there, because I guess if it's a toilet bowl and the ball comes out, it's a plunger. Anyway, no, Breen didn't say bang.
He caught himself.
He caught himself. But it looked like the Knicks were going to win this game. But listen, they have bad defensive problems. The Tibbs teams are not. This Tibbs team is not great defensively. They're 19th in the league, and so the Bulls with Zach LaVine cooking to start this game were able to make a big lead, and luckily for the Knicks, they brought it close. But yes, congratulations to the Chicago Bulls winning in Madison Square Garden.
It was a fun game.
It was.
For it to slip to the 3rd pick in our draft here, just shocking.
Yeah,
TK's probably aghast right now, listening or watching this later.
Right. It was weird to see the Bulls give up that lead, but I don't know how they won. They won, and so Cat had 46 points. I don't even know if I said that. I doubt I said that.
Well, yeah, that was we had 3 45-plus point games last night, which ties the record for most in a single day in NBA history. It's happened a lot of times, 7 other instances, but the last time it happened also involved Karl Anthony Towns.
Interesting.
Back in March 2022, Towns went for 60, Trae Young had 46, and Curry had 47. With each of them scoring obviously over 45 points. So that happened last night with Giannis, Wemby, and Kat,
oh, man,
who had the 46.
I wish it happened when Zach LaVine and Karl Anthony Towns were teammates as Minnesota Timberwolves. It doesn't feel like they were teammates, but they were once upon a time. And Kat looked so good, and Zach looked
incredible.
Zach looked like he was worth that max contract that the Bulls gave him. I mean, he looks like a
Zach
different
LaVine
player.
looks like an all-star.
Yeah.
And we might be talking about some early looks at All-Stars next podcast on tomorrow's show. If Jordan Poole had only hit a 3, that would have been our 4th guy with 45-plus points, because he finished with 42. Completely overlooked.
Completely overlooked.
With everything else going on. All right, I have the 4th pick in the draft. And I am taking the Cavaliers, holding off the 76ers, who were missing, all 3 of their star guys. But the Cavaliers became the 6th team ever to start a season 13-0. The streak continues. These games are getting closer and closer here, but they keep pulling it out. And last night, the reason really was Donovan Mitchell. He was amazing down the stretch. He scored 11 of his 23 points in the final 3 minutes of this game, hitting tough jumpers, corner threes off a really nice Karis LeVert pass, that 1-3 in the corner, driving to the rim. But that sexiest 4th quarter bucket was the one where he had Jared McCain on skates. He just put on the brakes. McCain went flying, and he nailed the 3. That was huge. Mitchell also grabbed 13 boards. He had 9 assists. The only thing Mitchell did wrong, I don't know if you caught this, he was trying to chase the triple-double. Because it was still a close game, somewhat of a tight game. It was late in the 4th quarter. He needed that 1 assist for his first ever triple-double. Doesn't have one. Yeah, surprised me. He did a beautiful spin move in the lane. He was at the rim. And instead of taking the wide open layup, that would have given the Cavs a 9-point lead. So again, they had some room to play with, but it was still time left. He made like an awkward pass to Mobley. And Mobley wasn't ready for it. He's like, what? Why aren't you laying it in? And he said he was basically trying for the triple-double. He apologized after the game. Donovan Mitchell said, Cavs fans, I'm sorry. I should have put the game away earlier. That was a selfish moment. I ain't gonna lie. I haven't had a triple-double in my career. Almost lost the game doing that. Don't be so hard on yourself. I don't know if you're going to lose the game. That's a selfish move, though. It won't happen again. I apologize, and I apologize to my teammates. I'm sorry, y'all. And there was more talk about it, too. He's like, it's a teaching moment for kids out there. It's like, let the game come to you. Don't chase things like this. You'll get them when they happen. Yeah, it was really weird. So that was the only thing he did wrong, was turning down, a wide open layup and trying to get a triple-double, which I couldn't believe he doesn't have one. But anyway, they're 13-0.
They're 13-0, and it's odd because Donovan Mitchell did let things happen in this game until those last few minutes, where he had to score 12 points in the last few minutes. He had 11 points until 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, because he has been giving Darius Garland the keys to being the fourth quarter guy.
That's true.
And a big win for the Philadelphia 76ers, even though they didn't win. I mean, to see them do this, have a pretty good effort against the Cavs.
Best team in the league right now.
To me, the most impressive thing was Jared McCain, the guy you said Mitchell put on skates there, getting his first start of his career.
Yep.
He had just become the first guy off the bench in the Sixers rotation previously. So this guy's just moving up here as a rook. And to drop 34, a career high. I mean, he's been dropping career highs.
34 and 10.
Yeah. He's been dropping these career highs over and over this last week. He's been extremely hot. Nick Nurse said Kenny Atkinson ran a box and one on one play to get McCain off the ball. And you know what? That's because he can do that. He's such a good mid-range player. He's such a good dribbler. Now, he's not amazing at the rim.
He's small,
but it's gonna continue. The fact is, the Sixers, it's a really weird season for them thus far. But when Embiid and Paul George and Maxey get to 100%, this guy's part of your rotation. That is a great accomplishment, because who would have thought McCain would be part of this rotation?
What did he get drafted? 15th, something like that.
Is
it middle of the first round?
Teens.
I mean, Daryl Morey's done pretty well when it comes to like small, crafty guards in the draft. Where'd he get Maxey?
16.
He got Maxey at 21, I think. It was in the 20s. Maxey's what? If you redid that draft, he's top 3 in the 2020 draft, at least, probably top 2. And then to find Jared McCain here at 16, you said?
Yeah.
So good work there from Morey when it comes to drafting these
he's
small
doing well.
lightning bug guys that can fill up the box score. Yeah, it was a good game. We wondered if he was going to start, remember? So I think Nurse has got to get him in the starting lineup. He kept Lowry in there as well, but good to see McCain have a good game. And yeah, they put up a fight. They're missing Embiid and Paul George and Maxey, and they were in it, but Donovan Mitchell took over, even if he did chase that triple-double. But hey, lessons learned. Okay, let's go one more round. Tas, number 5 pick overall.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly stay in the Eastern Conference because the Magic beat the Pacers, and it wasn't the sexiest game, but the Magic have a 4-game winning streak. That is an accomplishment in the Eastern Conference. A 4-game winning streak is a big deal because they are one of the 3 teams in the Eastern Conference that are above 500. This team is 7-6, and they're 3rd in the East, which is very strange. They beat the Pacers, and similar to last year, this Magic team is so good defensively. Now, they struggle a little bit offensively, especially with Paolo Banchero out. They're 2nd in defense, 24th in offense. But I think one positive to take from this 4-game winning streak is Franz Wagner's starting to roll, starting to feel better, and starting to look like the number 2 guy on this team. 29 points in this one, and a big number in assists. He had 6 helpers, and half of his assists were to Goga Bitadze, who was the 2nd highest scoring player for the Orlando Magic in this game with 12 points. How the heck do you win a game when your 2nd highest score is 12 points? Well, that's when you hold the Pacers to only 38% shooting. That's the big thing. Yep. I thought the Magic bench, Jonathan Isaac, beasting it, season high in minutes. He had 11 boards and 3 blocks. Again, don't worry about the points because somehow the Magic make wins happen without points. He didn't score a lot, but it was kind of cool at the end. Tyrese Halliburton tried to shoot a 3 as time went down, and Isaac got the rebound, the loose ball to seal it, which was kind of fitting because he had such a great game off the bench. The Halliburton story is interesting as well, because it should be a bit of a story here with the Pacers. Only 39% from the floor, 27% for 3. I know he's had good games recently, but he's up and down.
Yeah. How many good games has he honestly had this season?
Yeah, like the last week, I think he's had a couple the last week or so. Yeah. It is strange, but I just wanted to mention that the Magic, now 6-0 at home. They won 7 games to end last season at home.
Oh, wow.
Do we bump those together and say you've won 13 straight at home? No. That's garbage. But they play the 76ers on Friday at home. So another good
Cup
battle.
game.
It's a cupper. Wow. That should be a fun one. But just to say that this team is the third-seeded team in the East. But it does get hard for this team because I mentioned the great home record. But they're going to have a lot of road games, and Paulo Banchero probably going to miss most of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back. But I want to mention that they're above 500 now because it's probably not going to last too long.
It is nice to see, like you said, Franz stepping up here offensively for a team that really needs it when Paolo's out of the lineup. And despite his three balls sort of like leaving him again, remember he started the season solid this year? I remember talking about it on the show. I think Franz was like 3 of 6, 3 of 6, 4 of 10. It was like, okay, that's a good percentage. And then it's sort of completely left him again.
Yeah.
But he's scoring other ways, and he is averaging over his last 5 games. Franz is 28 points per game, about 6 assists, 6 boards, shooting 46% from the floor. Again, you'd like to see the 3-point percentage a little higher. It's sub 30 over those 5 games, but he is like just enough offensively when you have the best or one of the best defenses in the league to get some of these victories.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him. I recently looked that up because, again, we're talking All-Stars tomorrow's show. It's like, yeah, where does Franz fall in the mix? Especially with Paolo.
Yeah.
You know, likely not going to make it maybe if you were picking him right now, of course. So
Yeah.
he's in the mix, I think.
Yeah, his percentages are pretty good, and he's got a career high in assists this year. He's become more of a playmaker because the Magic are looking. They're still looking for that because Jalen Suggs is not quite that guy, and he had an inefficient night last night shooting the ball, but it's great to see Franz with almost 5 assists per game. They need that beside Paulo Banchero. They need him to be a playmaker, so he's developing. He's definitely getting better.
All right, I have the final pick here when it comes to drafting last night's best games or performances. Lots to pick from.
Yeah.
Honestly, lots to pick from. Give me Jalen Green scoring 21, though, as the Rockets beat the Clippers 111-103. Because here's why. I want to talk about something specifically. First off, the Rockets used a big run, end of third quarter, into the fourth, built a big lead. They were up like 19. This should have been one of those games where they probably won by like 15 to 20. But the Clippers came back. They chipped away, and it was down to like a 4-point game with like 90 seconds remaining. So it was like up in the air. But Alperen Şengün, big dunk, followed by a monster block, and that sort of sealed the deal. Got them the W. So they got there. But the reason I wanted to bring up the Rockets and why I'm drafting them here, because of their bench, and specifically the 2 studs in Tari Eason and Amen Thompson. These guys are a boost off the Rockets bench. It is fun to watch, both of them. Eason has scored in double figures in 5 straight games. Thompson has done so in 3 of the last 4. And man, when they come in, the game just levels up because these guys are energetic, deflections, playing defense. Obviously, they're high flyers, both of them. And it just it's one thing to have one of these guys come in and inject life into a game. To put them both in, that Udoka gets to do, and then sometimes close with them out there, that is just that's a good problem to have when you have so much talent on this Rockets team. And I think he's pressing all the right buttons here. They're 8-4, and they have one of the best defenses as well. That's how they win a majority of these games. But then these guys come in and play a part in that. So I just want to show Eason and Amen Thompson some love. They're fun.
They deserve it. Yeah, it feels like it's rubbing off on other players. Even the Rockets broadcasters were saying yesterday, well, Reed Shepherd playing better defense than he's played all season. Like, he was energetic. You mentioned Alperen Şengün and that beautiful dunk, and then he just literally sprinted the other way in the final minute to get a block. That doesn't feel like Alperen Şengün. Like, he felt like he was getting up. It was 4 blocks in this game. This is the 3rd best defense in the league, as you said.
That's Thunder, Magic, Rockets for the best defenses right now.
They're doing it. I saw this stat during the game. The most steals plus blocks per game off the bench for one player, it's Tari Eason with a 3. You'd think it might be a Caruso. He's second. He's around there. Then it's Keon Ellis, Grant Williams, and Jay Huff. Because when Jay gets a block, it's a Huff stuff, as they say on the Memphis broadcast. There's other players that have played fewer games on the bench that are a little bit higher than that. But, yeah, it was a weird game because the Clippers decided, we're going to start Chris Dunn over Terrence Mann. You come off the bench, Terrence Mann. And he was energetic. And the bench was great to bring them back into the game, as you said. They were playing like 7 guys off the bench in this game because it looked like Ty Lue was just saying, pull the plug, this game's over.
Yes. Exactly. Why the Rockets probably are kicking themselves a little bit. Like, maybe we should have put them away, especially when we were playing like the second unit, some of these 3rd-string guys. But Ty Lue just giving them a chance. And, yeah, it was a game. It was a game. But they took care of business. They are just have you seen the clips of Amen Thompson going around on Twitter of, like, the speed that he moves at?
Oh no, I'm happy
they're
to look
making
at
the
that.
rounds, and like people are like zeroing in, like just see the distance he goes.
Some sports science.
It's just like it looks sped up because he's fast as hell and so athletic. Yeah, seek those out. I'm sure we'll see more of them. But good stuff from the Rockets. Great start to the season. I was on high on them. I hit the over when we did our over-under, so I'm feeling good. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But
What was that, a 41.5?
it may have been higher, wasn't it? Was it 42.5?
Well, maybe, I don't know.
It was something around there. So yeah, they look good. Good start.
8-4. Yeah, that's a heck of an accomplishment. Another accomplishment I got to mention: Portland beating the Minnesota Timberwolves 2 games in a row. Yes, it's a little scary for the Timberwolves. No Mike Conley. Is that the reason they lost? I got to mention that because it just looked like the threes weren't falling down. I mean, that was key in this game. But you got to mention Portland and what they did. Shaedon Sharp scoring 33. Donovan Clingan had 8 frickin' blocks. He nearly had a triple-double with blocks. 17 points, 13 boards, and 8 blocks, 5 of those in the fourth quarter. And they were doing a good enough job to stop Minnesota's three-point shooting, which was, very bad, 18% in this game. But to win 2 games in a row when their lineups were, they're switching constantly. Chauncey Billups is trying some different things, and it's working. With Scoot coming off the bench, Denny Avdia coming off the bench even. So some strange lineups, but are absolutely working. To beat a team twice in a row, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, let alone a team that is good or should be good in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah, they want to get the hell out of Portland, I imagine. They do not like it there. It was awesome to see Sharp have a monster game because, it was overlooked last year, some of his performances, because he was on a crappy Blazers team. I get that. Like, there wasn't a lot of people talking about him, but he had some monster games. Then he was injured. But this 33 points, you see some of his buckets too. I didn't say he didn't yam on Rudy, but Rudy sort of made a business decision. I think he had a huge putback dunk. Sharp did, like a massive one down the stretch. He is, Amen Thompson, fast. Shaedon Sharp, hops. This guy leaps. He just has to go in the dunk contest. Please. Yeah. Please, Sharp, go in the dunk contest. He's like the perfect athlete for the dunk contest. Just like where his head is at when he's like always looking down on the rim. So that was good. The other action last night, LeBron, 3rd straight triple-double. Lakers rallied to beat the Grizzlies. Thunder destroyed the Pelicans. They had 88 points. The Pels did. Celtics punked the Nets, and the Kings beat the Suns for the second time in 4 days. There was no Durant, of course, no Beal. Also for the Kings, or for the Suns, but...
and no Morant for the Grizzlies, and no Anthony Simons for the Blazers, we didn't mention there. Scoot starting in that one.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Blazers might be better without a DeAndre Ayton and Simons out there and play these other guys. It's possible. That Kings game, though, I just want to share this. Someone named Matt slid into my DMs last night. And in all caps, he wrote to me.
Yeah, what's Matt saying?
Bro, make sure you guys talk about the cowbell kid playing for the school band during the halftime show of tonight's Kings game.
Okay.
I was like, Jesus. I literally wrote back, LOL, what? Well, I found it. I don't have it here for everyone because it's honestly, I'm a little confused why it's so amazing. But there is a kid during the halftime show. It's on Reddit, in the Kings subreddit. I get it, the cowbell, they love that in Sacramento.
Okay.
And this kid's got some flair. Like, he's got some Will Ferrell flair to him. But that's it. That's all. From what I could tell, that was all that was going on. He was just playing the cowbell in the high school band. But the crowd seemed to be loving it, and they had him on camera, so maybe that was it.
Was Matt in the crowd?
I don't know.
It sounds like you got to be there.
I know. All caps locks for that. I was like, what?
Is it possible Matt is the cowbell kid?
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Man. Could be.
Seemed like a youngish kid to maybe have his own Instagram account, but I don't know. I don't know how young these kids get
younger
on
and younger.
I guess.
They do.
Yeah.
They really do.
So congrats to the cowbell kid and Matt for getting us to talk about it on the show. All right, that's all the games. Anything you want to touch on the other ones?
No, I think we touched on them all. But yes, you got to beware of kids in the comments because they are getting younger. I had to delete a couple comments from our YouTube account. I know who did it, but it's literally a child.
Oh boy,
okay, a very young child. I mean, the comment
we
was...
know this kid?
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I personally do. The comment was totally fine.
Okay.
Yes, not a problem whatsoever.
Right, content-wise, yeah.
Yes. Not offensive. by any means.
But did you reach out to the parent of this said child and said?
Yeah, I did some stuff. I did my back.
I don't even know this story. I'm intrigued by this.
Nah, it's not that interesting.
I'm like going through the Rolodex of like, which kid could that have been? I got like a top 5 list right now. Building.
Yeah, you can have anybody on the internet. So yeah, just beware.
It wasn't my kid, was it?
No. It was a child.
What?
A child, like
yeah, it's
a
gotta
young
be a
child.
Kid. Why would he care enough to delete it?
Yeah, I wouldn't care if Lincoln or Jackson did.
Yeah, they're grown men.
That's true.
You don't let them in the YouTube comments on the no dunks?
I mean, they're allowed to like the show, but stay out of the comments,
Oh, wow.
boys.
I don't know. We got one of the nicest comment sections in the YouTube
It's
game,
true.
I think.
Yeah,
That's great.
JD did a great job with his kids of keeping them away from social media for a long period
I
of time.
did. 16.
16, wow.
16.
Wow, it's unheard of.
Still too early, in my opinion, but you got to let go at some point, guys.
Yeah, sure.
So they weren't allowed on the gram.
Nope.
No tweeters.
Nope.
No Facebooks.
None of it.
Wow.
No Snap. They missed
Snap
out on a lot of stuff.
I was going to say Snap would have been massive.
Snap
It maybe
is-
probably
yeah.
still is, but for your kids' era,
Yep, for
being
sure.
a little older.
And they're like, yeah, I don't know. Didn't hear about that party. Well, I'm not on Snap.
yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
What can you do? They're better for it, though. It was the right decision.
Are they? They missed
Great.
a lot of great parties.
They're fine. They're fine.
There were like comment parties, people just sitting in a room together, just.
That's what the parties are. They all look at their
Yeah,
phones.
it's just
so
a
you're not
Zoom
missing anything,
meeting?
guys. Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay. All right, so let's get to tonight's pick-up task. I know the game because there's only one on.
Strange. On a Thursday night to see one basketball game.
I guess the whole part of this is we're not playing back-to-backs for those cup games.
Yeah.
We got a lot of teams playing their first cup game.
On Friday, yeah.
Basically, everybody else that didn't play on Tuesday are playing their first cup game on Friday night. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what are you going to do?
And some, playing their second game.
Yeah.
So we're putting the Dallas Mavericks against the Utah Jazz as the only game tonight.
Okay. What's the line?
Yeah, the Jazz 9.5-point underdogs. So Dallas, if you want to take them, they got to win by 10 or more. And that's why 3 of us believe that the Dallas Mavericks can do that. Well, I think, nah. They've already played once in Dallas, where it was just a 10-point win, I think.
I think
in
it was
Dallas.
right around there, yeah. I was torn on this one, this line.
Utah's a tough place to play.
Yeah, it's like the Mavs have lost 3 straight games by 1 possession against really good teams.
So they might
Are they
spank
going to
them.
just be pissed off? And
Yeah.
now you get a bit of an easier team in Utah that's had some blowout losses at home. That's ultimately my thinking. It's like they're angry. Mm-hmm. But you never know. Backdoor covers happen too. It could be like they're up 16 late. You pull all your main guys, and then I don't know, some 14th man on the Jazz hits 3 threes and like they cover. That could happen.
Absolutely could happen.
so.
But pumpkin pie is on the line here, and it feels like it's November and there's a lot of days, but it's probably not with Thanksgiving
we're halfway through
happening.
November. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
plus
yeah, we're having a
Thanksgiving.
little Thanksgiving
People
break.
have at least a few days off here.
True,
I
true,
imagine.
true.
So these are important. These are important, even though they're just one game. And tomorrow we're not going to be talking a lot about Dallas, Utah. I don't think.
No, I do think we can take an dumb early look at all-star rosters because I think it'll be a fun exercise to go through who made it last year, who are the locks in both conferences to sort of make it again, and then how many openings there are, and then who's in the running. Or if there are other locks that you think, oh yeah, like Karl Anthony Towns. Now he was an all-star last year in the West. He's going to be one in the East. His numbers are unbelievable.
He's playing amazing.
Yeah. So we can go through that exercise. I think it'll be fun. We'll do that with TK. And yeah, if this game's entertaining, we'll talk about it. Worst of the week, you got some noms?
Oh, absolutely. There's absolutely nominations for Worst of the Week. There are worthy nominees.
I want to know. You know what? Tell me tomorrow. I'll find out live with everybody else. But the way they're going to play Bronny James in the G League.
That's a nominee. I got to say.
Okay. He's not
Not
going
a
to be
fan.
traveling with the team. Yeah. Staying in LA with dad. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
We'll talk about that then on tomorrow's Drop Podcast. And a whole lot more rapid fire fun and all that good stuff. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you download and listen to this classic. Appreciate you joining us here today. We'll see you tomorrow for the Drop. If you're a Survivor fan, we'll see you later today. Nora will be here. in studio with me and JD talking about episode 9. Lots to break down. We'll be talking about the Canadian Genevieve a whole lot in today's No Buffs episode. So go check out No Buffs. It's on YouTube feed, it's on podcast feed. That's later today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow here in the Classic Factory. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, some Canadians pronounce Genevieve. I don't care, I do it. That's not how she pronounces her name. I don't care, I do it. And Danielle gets mad at me every time I do it.
I do it too, Tas.
Really?
I have to stop myself. Every time I mention her name on the show, I go, because I've known a Genevieve.
Me too.
Yeah, so it's hard.
See, I never have.
So I
it's
train
like
myself.
Genevieve to
Yeah,
me.
she would get pissed if you called her Genevieve. You know, French Canadians, they get very. Hey,
Well, this Genevieve is from,
she's from
Winnipeg.
out west.
Yeah,
Okay.
From Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I don't see too many contestants from Winnipeg.
Shout out to Todd McCullough,
Oh,
the
wow.
pinball wizard.
Forgot about that.
He's from Winnipeg, I think.
I don't know.
He's from Manitoba.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds
There's a
about
lot of
right.
other cities in Manitoba.
Is there?
No, not really. No, it's just Winnipeg. Race the day, people.